Hi, you're listening to Abbacadabra Radio. This podcast is for my conscious creator friends, my manifesting besties. This is part stream of consciousness, part talking with people who love to talk about conscious creation, manifestation, spiritual things, anything in between. And it is my hope that through this podcast, I expand my own awareness and understanding of myself, and you guys do too. I am happy to have you guys here along for the ride. Hello, my conscious creator friends. Here we are back with yet another episode of Abbacadabra Radio. I'm Abby, your host, and I'm so happy you're here. Y'all truly get pretty much real-time realizations that I'm having, so that can be good and bad. Sometimes I'm like, let me take some time to integrate what I'm talking about. And other times I'm like, no, I just need to hit record and start going. And sometimes you get a mix of both. So today is one of those days where I really feel like I need to share what I'm moving through. So I'm going to share what I'm moving through. It's about feminine energy. It's about masculine energy. It's about letting go. It's about receiving. It's about a lot of stuff. And I think it's going to resonate with people. And I'm going to get into the breadcrumbs that led me to where I am. Anyway, before I get too deep into the episode, I do want to remind you guys that the website has the blueprint, the 30-day manifestation method to align with your desires, fully guided. 3 meditations a day, a morning meditation, a midday meditation, and a nighttime meditation, and it's designed to help you align more deeply with the desires that you hold. There's also 3 hypnosises. You can get the money hypnosis, the love hypnosis, both of which help deepen and amplify your relationship with both of those things, and the identity shifting hypnosis, which allows you to show up the way you've been waiting to. It gives you permission to show up how you've wanted to, but haven't for whatever reason. Those are available. There's also the 3-day Opening Up to Money Masterclass, the Conscious Creation Workbook. You can sign up for reality creation consulting. There's a bunch of things on the site that you can go check out now, or check out after, or check out whenever. It's always there. I think that's everything. Let's get into the episode. I'm going to be real with you guys. I have not been in my feminine energy for a while. And I didn't realize this until recently. And like I said, I want to talk about the breadcrumbs and nudges that have led me to where I am now in this realization, in trying to open up and deepen into my own feminine energy, and how sometimes we can kind of get lost in the masculine totally by accident. So I think what happened with me is for at least the last 4 years, I've been in survival mode. I've been in, it's all going to be fine, we're going to make it work, I will problem solve, I will fix, I will do whatever I have to for anybody. And that happened after my mom passed away. And I didn't realize that I went into that over-accommodating for people, over-accommodating for people I didn't necessarily have to, pushing, striving. Again, that creative energy, that receptive energy of the feminine has been gone. We see glimpses of it sometimes, but for a lot of the last 4 years, at least, if not longer, primarily I'm in my masculine energy, which is very it's the yang of the yin and the yang, yin, feminine, yang, masculine, a very forceful, a very pushing, a very provider type energy. And there's nothing wrong with being in masculine energy. And there's nothing wrong with being in feminine energy, but you want to have balance. I'm a Libra sun, so balance, I'm kind of surprised I didn't pick up on this sooner, that I was pretty unbalanced, but here's how I got to where I am now. I noticed over the past few months, I would hear people say to me, you put out a lot, you do a lot, you kind of seem to lose your cool a little bit when you don't feel like you're in control. There are some things you can't control. I would hear those things and I'd accept them and I'd be like, okay, it is what it is. I'll work on it. And then didn't. You gotta work on the things that you clock about yourself. You gotta. Because if you notice it, it's gonna keep coming up. So I didn't really pay attention to those things. I kind of thought about them and was like, yeah, I can surrender. I can be fine. I didn't do very good at that. I'm just gonna be honest. And that's okay. Because every day is new. We're always changing. And then, within the last 24 hours, yesterday, I was really feeling this, I and there's a eclipse energy, guys. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts. Mercury retrograde started yesterday. There are so many things that are going to surface and come up. And moving into this time, I was like, I don't have any big things I'm working on. And yesterday it hit me like in between the eyes, you're not in your feminine. And I think you will thrive in your feminine. And now I'm like, okay, let me pay attention. So I would hear people say what I had said. You know, let go of controlling, needing to control things. And like, I know that, I talk about that stuff, but still I need to check myself when I'm like too into it. And then yesterday when I had the realization, like I should try going into my feminine more and be more in my receptive mode, which I'm not super familiar with. I said, okay, time to start looking into this, time to start diving into this. Last week, this is all over the place. I hope you can follow this. Last week, I did a High Priestess guided meditation. That was one of the most amazing meditations I've ever had in my life. I felt my auric field. I felt so connected to everything. Like, I felt amazing. It was one of the most pivotal meditations I've had in a really long time. And I'm not surprised because it was about balancing energy. It was about connecting. It was about receiving. All the things that I'm now realizing I need to do more of. And even a few weeks ago when I talked about flow, not force, and I was talking about days where I was in my flow state more, like that's the feminine, the creative, flowing, not forcing energy. I am not surprised that the few days that I've had where I'm in that flow and not trying to force, that they've been really good days and really great things have happened because I'm in my receptive, I'm in my feminine. Like maybe I don't have to be in that controlling, have to have it all done, have to have it all figured out masculine at all times. At all times. I'm not saying that I'm never going to be there because in my life there are a lot of instances where my masculine energy and being able to do that is going to benefit me. But there are also times where it's going to hinder me, and I'm hitting points where like it's kind of hindering me. So let me take a step back and really dial in, like, where am I coming from? Am I coming from the force or am I coming from the receive? Do you know what I mean? So that's what I've been trying to check in with myself recently. So I made the decision, okay, I'm going to try to move more into my receptive mode. We're back to last night. And I see a creator, Jessa Reed, who I've talked about before. If you like what I talk about, go listen to her. Like, seriously, could not say enough great things. Like, the moments I have when I, like, listen to her podcast is just... Anyway, she posted on TikTok about a download that she had got, or some message she had got about being in the feminine. This is, like, a few hours after I'm like mentally making the shifts and like really starting to like claim that energy and play around with that energy and ask myself, what does that mean to me? How does that look to me? And I'm seeing her now say like, move into your feminine, move more into receptive mode, move more into like, I don't chase, I attract, move more into, I don't have to control things. I don't have to force things. I don't have to push things. And it resonated so strongly because a few hours before I had gotten the same message about myself. So seeing her post that gave me the nudge from the universe. It's like, yes, do this, follow this. This is a creator that you really like. And now they're saying what you're already feeling. So lean into that more. And I was like, okay. That's a good synchronicity. That's a good, like, okay. And then a few hours after that, scrolling on TikTok is what I do. That's not all I do. But a creator, like, had pulled tarot cards, and I generally, like, don't really pay attention to those because it's never anything I need. But I guess in the moment, I didn't realize it was, like, one of those, and I started watching it. Same message. And this creator, I didn't get their name, but they were talking about scenarios that very deeply resonated with what I'm going through. On top of the message of like, time to flow, not time to force, time to be more in your feminine, less in your masculine. Another reason for me to say, okay, the universe is really giving me all these nudges and all these signs that like, maybe this is for me right now. And when I look at, like, how I want my life to go and how I want to see, like, I'm a woman. Having a family is something that's really, really important to me and very high on my list of goals. I've always wanted to be a mom. But when I take a step back and I say, okay, well, like, have I been in that nurturing, cultivating relationship, like feminine, creative, like a beacon sort of energy? No, I haven't. So I'm not surprised that like scenarios and situations I'm in aren't reflecting like that, which is fine. Like, I'm happy with where I'm at right now, but it was interesting and not interesting to see, like, follow along with all the nudges and all the signs and all the synchronicities of I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing. So pay attention to those things and like see if you can spot where you have followed certain nudges and the universe is giving you like, yes, lean into this, because it'll help you lean into it more. I also realized that when you take a step back and look at scenarios, this isn't necessarily about feminine and masculine energy, but it's worth saying. When you take a step back, hindsight is 20/20, and look at scenarios that you labeled as bad, that you tried to resist, that you pushed against, that happened anyway, because they happen anyway. We can push as hard as we want against things that are happening. It's not going to stop them from happening. Anyway, when you can take a step back and look at those things that you labeled as bad, the worst, terrible, and see where they led you and see the connections you made with people, see the lessons that you've learned, see the version of you that you are now because you went through that. Now you'll see I'm provided for, I'm protected. I'm living in a universe that fully supports me. And that's part of this, for me, yin energy, feminine energy of how does it feel to me to feel like I am genuinely supported by the universe, by reality, by my higher self. Because I think if I can find myself in that place of like, yeah, I'm supported, like that creative and receiving energy is going to be a lot easier, because it's very common to have imposter syndrome and to feel like you're faking being worthy. You're worthy. Whoever's watching this, you're worthy. You can have what you want. You're allowed to receive. You don't need to feel guilty for it. Like, don't push against it. You're allowed to have these things. You're allowed to want what you want. You're allowed to be in that era of I'm taken care of. And I personally, for me right now, what's going to feel best for me right now, because I don't lean on people in my life. Not because I can't. I just don't. I just don't. Again, all of the people in my reality, and this is how I manifested a car accident, by not leaning on people, so it's something that I'm working on. For me, I need to take baby steps. So it might not be me relying heavily on someone for like a big thing. For me right now, it's going to look like, let me remind myself how supported I am. Let me dive into that feeling of being supported by the universe, because that to me feels really good. That feels really nice. And taking that baby step of leaning back and letting the universe guide me, that's going to be a lot easier, and I'm going to make that feeling more normal before I necessarily like project it onto another person. I'm not saying you should project it onto another person, but I'm saying when that time comes to, for me, where I do need to rely on another person for whatever reason, it's going to feel more natural. It's going to feel better. Again, there's a natural progression of things. For some people that might be like, no, I have people I can rely on, and I do very well all the time. And I do have people I rely on, who I can rely on. I do have people who I can rely on. I just am a very hyper-independent person. And again, something I'm working on happened 4 years ago. It's just what happened. And that's okay. And now that I can see that and pinpoint that, I can work on it. Like, in the realm of spirituality, in the realm of this, I'm always coming up against myself and always finding new ways that I can expand and finding new ways that I can more deeply understand myself. And part of that is owning the things I don't do well, the things that I haven't done before, the things that I'm not the way that I'm not showing up. And it's not to judge myself, because we're never judging ourselves, but it's to be aware, like, okay, this is how I've been showing up. Is this conducive for like that feminine mothering energy that I want to move into in the next few years? No, yes, maybe so. Okay, how can I navigate? How can I shift that? So the feminine energy, let's get back into that. Things that you can do to embrace more of your femininity is get into that creative energy. Whatever lights you up. It could be dancing. It can be like creating, painting, writing, whatever it is, like, go into it. There is the nurturing aspect of, like, not controlling, but, like, nurturing and being a beacon of, like, maybe calm energy, maybe soothing energy, like, maybe if you're in a relationship, like, being more sensual or more, like, I like to, like, rub my boyfriend's arm when we're, like, watching a show or something, like, showing up in that way more. That's another way that you can start, like, moving into that feminine energy, the way that you present yourself, the way that you look. That is one thing that I didn't really lose. I think that's the one. I'm not saying I showed up super, super masculinely all the time, but, like, in my job and in a lot of the things I do every day, like, that control aspect, that, like, I can do it aspect, that's always kind of there. And showing up in, like, a more feminine outfit and, like, making sure that my hair's done and, like, my makeup, because I like how I look when I look this way. I like how I look without makeup on, but I also really like how I look with makeup on. So I do it for me because I feel good, because it helps me show up in the way that I want to show up. What I would suggest doing is make a list for ways that you can nurture yourself. Ways that you can cultivate your relationship with you. Maybe get into yoga. Do things that bring you back into your body. Paying attention to your breath. Doing somatic shaking. Doing somatic healing. Doing EFT tapping. Moving energy through you. And feeling your body. And letting your body tell you, here's what, you know, like, paying attention to the cues of your body is going to make a huge difference. And again, I'm literally just on the precipice of this, so expect another video about this probably in the next few weeks or months or whenever. But I just wanted to share, like, what I'm really ushering into. Like, I feel truly like I'm in a new era. I'm feeling like I want to show up in a very different way, a softer way, and I'm figuring out for me right now, like, how does that look? And I think that a lot of people during this eclipse, during this retrograde season, are going to get nudges into, like, new ways of being and new ways that they can show up. And for some of you, it might be lean more into your feminine. For other people, it might be lean more into your masculine. It might have nothing to do with those two things, but pay attention to what's showing up. Pay attention to what you're moving through. Pay attention to what you can improve on in yourself, because we're not judging ourselves, like I said, but when you can be aware of how you show up, you can then be aware of what needs to change and take the steps to change it in a not scary way. I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. Reality creation seems daunting when you have to take that ownership of what's showing up in your reality, but as soon as you take ownership of what is showing up in your reality, you don't get mad at yourself. You don't beat yourself up. You think you're going to. When you are on the outside of it and you say, I can't own what's up in my, like, I can't own the fact that I created this reality because that's going to mean this. It's going to mean I'm bad. It's going to mean I'm awful. It's going to mean I'm not worthy. It's going to mean I'm stupid. No, like that's never crossed my brain at all in owning what's showing up. It's just helped me understand it better. And when you can come from a place when you are in contrast, like, with another person, and maybe you haven't shown up your best way, you can, like, outside of the situation, show up and say, okay, I didn't show up my best way, and I apologize for that, and it's my intention to show up in a different way, and it's my intention to truly, and I'm working on showing up this way. It's going to take time. When you can communicate that with another person, it can do a lot, because it's owning what you've done. It's not blaming yourself, but it's allowing yourself to say, I'm aware of how I've been showing up. I know it might not be the best way that I've shown up, but I'm working on it. And, like, I've had instances in my life in the past year where I've really dove into, like, doing that. And I'm going to tell you, it has made things a lot easier. It's made things a lot better. So don't be afraid to own what you've created, because you're not a bad person. We're just an aspect of the universe creating itself. And sometimes we create chaos, and sometimes we create epic things, and sometimes we create stuff in the middle. And none of it means anything about you that you don't make it mean. Okay? That's the episode. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope it resonates. I hope it makes you feel like you've got a fire lit under you for this eclipse season, for this retrograde season, for what's showing up. And yeah, questions for next episode, you can comment them, you can email them to abbacahdabrapod@gmail.com. That's here. And yeah, until next time, this is Abby signing off.